Hello, this is the Social Studies Department. I'm Ms. Yanis Gonzalez.
My name is Mr. Beltran.
Mr. Cooney.
Mr. Ravelin.
Mr. Herring.
And we are here to have a round the table discussion about the events that took place on 9/11. As you guys know, this is the 21st year anniversary that's coming up for this. So being that the student body at this point was not born during this event and most of your teachers were, we thought that it would be kind of a cool idea for us to sit down and just talk about our individual experiences.
So I was in middle school. I was in 8th grade when it happened. And I remember my Spanish teacher, the Spanish teacher who was my homeroom teacher, she received a call from a friend of her sister who was working in the building, like in, I think, the South Tower. And so I remember her immediately turning on the TV. We start to see the images of like the smoke billowing out of the tower. And she was distraught because her sister worked in the tower. Fast forward, thankfully, she was stuck in traffic on the Brooklyn Bridge. So they had evacuated everybody off the bridge at that point. But when we started seeing the images at school, it was confusing, but you also knew that something was wrong, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I was also in 8th grade at that time. And I was actually dreading going to school that day because there was my teacher was the English teacher, and I had not studied for the test that was coming up. And so I remember that my teacher was actually late to school, and I thought, oh, she's probably stuck in traffic. We're gonna miss this exam. This is awesome. And then all of a sudden, the speaker, on the loudspeaker, they say the school's on shutdown. And you're in 8th grade, you don't really understand 100% what that means or what that looks like. And we had like these big block TVs in the corner. And all of a sudden they turn on the TV and you just start seeing people jumping out of the building. And I think for me personally, it was just this realization of like, holy crap, there's something really wrong happening here. Not really understanding what that was.
Yeah, for me, I remember being in the lunch line, so I don't know if it was like breakfast or if I had an early lunch based on my grade or whatever, but someone, came on the loudspeaker and said there'd been, a situation, the school was going on lockdown, and so we all grabbed our food and head back to our class, and my teacher actually, we had to roll out a giant TV into the middle of the classroom and put on the news, which was kind of crazy, so our class was watching it happen live. I think we saw the second tower go down at that point. And I remember for me, so a lot of kids were getting pulled out of school. So my school gave the option of parents to come and pull them out of school. My mom decided not to pull me out, but I did receive a call from her because most of my family is from New York, and so I had a lot of family members up in the city and stuff like that. And so they were kind of updating me just to confirm that everyone was safe and no one was affected or anything like that. But I was young, so before I really was able to place it like in the larger context, for me it was just like, how could somewhere where a family member lives be under outside threat? Because as Americans, like, we didn't really grow up, our parents didn't grow up knowing that our country would be attacked, right? Because our parents were born after Pearl Harbor. And so, it was just a very sobering moment of like, oh, can I be in danger? And for that, thinking that at a young age is very sobering, I think.
Yeah, I think for me, I was in 2nd grade, and I remember this was like 7 months after my family had immigrated to the States from Colombia. So I remember thinking like, oh, like the reason we left Colombia is happening here, like this violence and this threat. But kind of like Mr. Cooney, my mom also didn't take me out of school. I remember being like the only one left. My mom was like, they're not gonna attack some like random high school in Kendall, elementary school in Kendall. So yeah, but it was a very big first impression when it came to world affairs and to politics, to social studies, which is what we teach today. So, yeah, it made a really big impression on me.
I also was in school. I was in my second year in college. Yes, kind of old, no grades though. Second year in college, I was in my Native American history class. Someone pulled out the professor, said something to him. He came back in and he told us, he was like, hey, we're under attack, pretty much, right? They was attacking at the World Trade Centers. Everybody go to your dorms or go home. Because, you know, FAU was where I attended. It's a communal school, so some kids go home. I stayed on campus. So I went back to campus, went to my room. All my like suite mates, dorm mates, people, we gathered around the TV watching this stuff transpire. We're seeing the second plane hit. We're infuriated, we're hot. We're like, what is going on here? How did they think they could just attack us? A lot of people had that call to arms almost feel. Some of us sobered up and like, I'm not going to go. But, you know, for the most part, people like, you really feel like I want to fight, right? Later on, like through the week, there was a heavy like FBI presence on our campus because people who had flown the planes either had learned at the airport right next to Boca, or right there, or they had been on our campus at some point. So it was a heavy FBI presence on the campus for a good while. It was just that 2000 year was crazy too, because I mean, this is a little off subject, but it was just showing you how it led up to this point. It was like Aaliyah had just died in the plane accident, like that month prior, and then 9/11 happens, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was like, what the heck is going on in America at this time, right? Especially as a young adult, it's like, it's still crazy. Like, it feels like yesterday to me at times, because I'm, so old. I'm like, because I'm so old, but it felt like yesterday at times. Like, and it's like, no, that is. Some kids never even know about this stuff. Like, you don't even know. Like, it was crazy. The United States of America was on lockdown pretty much.
Yes.